Welcome to On the Move with Nan and Cam. We've got Dr. Lisa Mitro with us today. We are so excited that she's here. As you might remember from our live panel podcast that we just recently did at the Walmart Health and Fitness Expo for the Allianz Partners Richmond Marathon, we had Dr. Lisa be a part of that, and she was running her first ever full marathon with us, and we were so pumped that she wanted to do that here in Richmond. So welcome, Dr. Lisa. How are you feeling?
Thanks for having me. I feel good now that it's over. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm in my relaxation era, so this has been fun.
I love it. What's the heavy relaxation era like? What's that about? Tell us that vibe.
It is going to bed at 8 p.m. and waking up to no alarm clock, which is great, and still eating a crap ton of carbs. So this has been like the life.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds great. It really does.
Love the carb
set
life.
aside some relaxation time all the time, not just after a race. That sounds like that.
Yes. Also, in addition to being your first marathon, it was Cameron's first full marathon with us here on staff. How did you feel? How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling recovered now.
Okay, good.
Was not feeling great the day of. It felt like I ran the marathon, but that was okay. Went home, had a great sleep.
Oh,
That's
wonderful.
My day after also
Healing.
Napping a lot, lounging, but Costco shopping.
We both went to Costco, which is, kind of counterproductive. That's not a relaxed vibe at West Broad Costco, but I bet you didn't go to the West Broad one.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I went to, I think I have Costco and Sam's. I think I went to Sam's.
Okay.
On Midland.
Okay.
On Sam's on Midland.
Okay.
So it was real chill.
Okay, good.
It was right before I closed.
I'm glad for you.
Too, so yeah. Real relaxing. I love a grocery shopping.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that it was good for you. I'm so happy that you've got your first marathon under your belt. Both of you. Congrats to our marathon finishers.
Thank you.
Dr. Lisa, just for people who are not familiar with you and your business, which they definitely should be, no matter where they live, but particularly if they live in Richmond, because you are such a great resource for runners. We know that you've got an awesome Instagram following here in Richmond. So just tell us a little bit about how you got started and what your business is like.
Yeah, so I got started, I want to say it was I guess 2021. I'm not really sure. I kind of lost track of time, but somewhere around there after COVID. And I started posting on Instagram just like really cringy photos of me running or like after a run. It was like, if you go back and look on my Instagram, it's so cringy. But you know what? I did it. And I realized when I was posting, I was following people in the running community. Like it was really inspiring just to have that type of community online, even though I didn't know these people at all. So it was really just like random people supporting me in my running journey. And then I would do the same. And I realized on Instagram that if someone posted like they were injured or something like that, there weren't many PTs out there who were helping runners. And a lot of the time, people who would be commenting on someone who's injured, it would just be like terrible advice. And it's like, they're not PTs, they're not doctors, they're not even in the healthcare world or anything like that, running world. So it was kind of scary. I was like, oh yeah. And I saw this on Facebook. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, do not follow this advice. Like, you are going to hurt yourself. So that's when I started just casually posting tips, and people really started like asking me more questions. And that's when I was like, oh, maybe I'll start actually posting reels, even though, again, they were so cringy at first. But I did it. I was able to like help people along the way, and it just kind of kept going from there.
That's awesome. Just seeing the following you've gotten, also just let people know, what is your Instagram handle?
Yeah, it's Dr.Lisa.DPT, and you should follow if you need help treating running injuries or you want to prevent running injuries.
I personally love it because I am someone, and I would imagine there's a lot of people like me, where I would prefer to do anything but try to actually go to a physical doctor. So if I can look it up online and get some advice in the moment, I feel like that is just so valuable, especially as somebody who doesn't rest well, which is, I think, also a common runner issue, is people don't like to, we like to try to fight through pain in the moment and not take the time off. So I think to have those exercises and tips at your fingertips, thanks to you, is just very empowering.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, who really has time for like 20 minutes of driving to and from the doctor and waiting 3 weeks to get into the doctor
Nobody,
just to be sent to
nobody.
Just
PT?
to get a good stretch in.
Yeah.
You could be going
So
on mad runs in that time.
it's nice to be able to just give people resources where it's like, hey, if you have 10 minutes, like in no equipment, it's okay. And you can still, get out of pain without leaving your house.
That's awesome. And then you also see clients as well, right?
Yes, one-on-one
Okay.
clients. Yep. A lot of my one-on-one clients will be training for races coming up, or they maybe have more complex running injuries going on. So that's been really nice to be able to assess their running form and also just assess how they're moving and be able to help them.
Nice. That's awesome. So we do know that, well, first off, Howard, you said you've been resting a lot. Are you more sore than you thought you would be, or do you feel like it's like right on par with what you were thinking?
I never really thought about how bad this was going to hurt because I think that kind of was like scary. Like I was just like, let me just actually get through the race. So I feel like, I mean, I saw you right after I finished and I know I was smiling, but I was like, I don't know if you saw this, but it was a smile like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I'm done. But also this hurts so flipping bad. Like, can you carry me? And I just remember like, you hit a mile at like mile 20, or sorry, you hit a wall at mile 20, and then all you want to do is finish this race. So it was like
Yeah.
me bartering with myself, like 3 more miles and I'll get 3 weeks off from running. Like that is literally what got me to the finish line. So I knew I was taking a long break after this race. So right when I cross the finish, I'm so excited. Like I want to cry, but I just get this like bolt of pain from like I think my glutes tighten up, my back tighten up, my quads, my hamstrings, and I'm like limping, like trying to get my medal and just like any sort of water. Luckily it was right there. Thank goodness. But
Yeah, we
it
should
was
hook it up.
it was definitely humbling because I was like, oh, people don't really talk about like what happens right after you finish. And I don't
Oh,
know,
yeah.
it was eye-opening, that's for sure. But yeah, so I was hurting pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
When I saw you, I think also I was like in the crazy, and then all of a sudden Lindsay, who had been on the panel with us, Lindsay Hine,
Mhm.
who was doing the announcing down at the finish, she was like, "There's Dr. Lisa," and I like looked up, and I feel like you see this daze on people when they're at the finish line, where there's like a mixture of like, real glad this is done, can't believe I did this, and like, where am I?
Yeah.
And you were like, I could tell you were really happy, but I was also like, she looks like she was ready to be done. But
Yeah.
you came in, I mean, you said at the panel that you wanted to do like right around 4.5 hours, and you came in right under that. So you
Mhm.
killed it.
Yeah, I was
So you
4:22
should
and
feel
some
great
change.
about it.
Yeah, so I was very happy about that.
Good.
It was just really funny. Like, my boyfriend and my mom are like running up to me and I'm just like they're like screaming my name and I'm like I literally can't stop limping. Like I can't just stop.
Right.
It's just so
No,
funny. They're like hugging me and
I
I'm like
also,
no, like I have to keep
I mean,
walking, like I'm going to
Right.
collapse.
I always feel bad. Like in real life, I am kind of a lot anyway for people with like the over questioning, over talking, like in your face right away. And I always like crack up because whenever we have those like first finishers and I have to like talk to them and make sure that like media can get to them at the finish line and everything. And I'm like, can you say your first and last name and spell it for me? And where are you from? And here's your award and great job. And they just look like,
I can't even see you right now.
yeah. Meanwhile, just down there, like all up in their face. So it is, yeah, I totally get that glazed runner feeling for sure.
Mhm.
Um, Also, didn't just to the people that are watching, Cameron and I did not intend to look like we are twins today,
Jean
and
jacket
we
girls.
didn't get dressed in the same house, despite what this looks like. There were no
So-
texts sent, but that's fine. We decided to just embrace it too. Neither one of us is taking it off.
No. It's
Full
too cold.
jean jackets.
Yeah.
So we do know that you did Sportsbackers Marathon Training Team. Was that always something that you were going to do? Did you consider training by yourself at all? Just tell us a little bit about your thought process in signing up for that and what your experience on Marathon Training Team was like.
Yeah. So I didn't plan on signing up for marathon, just to be clear. So I think, so like, let's start from the beginning because this was not in my intentions at all.
I'm interested how you accidentally signed up to run the marathon. Yeah.
It's fine.
I remember, yeah, it was all an accidental situation. No, I ran the Monument 10K and I remember when I trained for it, it was an all out performance every single run. So I finished the Monument 10K, it was humid, a little humid in Richmond, shocker.
Yes.
And I just remember thinking, like, I just died running 6 miles. Like, how am I ever going to run long distance? And that's when actually, like, something just like flipped in my head. Like, I have to train smarter if I'm ever going to run. In my mind, it was a half marathon and beat my time. I was never a marathon. But what really happened was I was just thinking, like, I have to train smarter. Like, there's no way, like, the elites are doing this. Like, I just had in my head, like, I need to, like, go home and, like, look at research and figure this out. So I ended up really falling into the 80-20 running. So, and working on my zone 2 training. So building my aerobic base. And I did that for a couple months. And that's when I was really falling back in love with running again, because like that 10K, it was hard for me. I was like, this is like the best I got, basically. But I knew that there was more. So I did zone 2 training. And that's when I was like, oh, I can run, a lot slower, easier at this slower pace. And I'm not dying. And this is fantastic. Like I actually really enjoy running like this. And then with some pickups during some of the runs as well, just like a little bit of speed work. So that's when once I started getting into zone 2 training, that's when I was like, I bet, well, first I was like, I don't have a lot going on this fall. And so of course I was then like, oh, in my head, it was, oh, what if I started training for a marathon? Like, isn't that kind of crazy? And I told my boyfriend, he was like, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Like that's pretty nuts. Most people, when they have a free, next couple months, are not thinking, let me just train for a race. So I was like in my head, like, well, maybe I'll just start training and like see how it goes and then sign up. And I knew during the expo and the Q&A, I was joking that I was going to sign up for the race the day before the race. Like that was literally my plan. And I'm not kidding. That was seriously my plan. I was going to see how training went and then like sign up last minute. So I was planning on doing the entire training block by myself. And I really didn't think much about it at the time because I had done the half marathon training blocks by myself. So I really wasn't thinking much. So I get 3 or 4 weeks into training. My longest run, I think, was like 7 or 8 miles. And I did it with my mom. So I wasn't actually doing it alone. But then I was thinking, like, okay, she can't run like, the entire long runs with me. And actually, a friend was like, you should sign up for the training team. And I was like, oh, like, what is it all about? Because I like actually feel really good during the first month of training, but like I don't really want to do these long runs alone. And she told me all about it. And literally when I got home, I emailed the lady in charge and was like, please, like begging. I was literally said, please let me be on the training team. I am so late, but I have been running. And I was just like, oh my gosh, if she says no, like I'm going to be so upset. But luckily she said yes. And 2 days later, I went to my first long run and I was like, oh, this is the best because now I really actually feel like I can complete this marathon.
What team are you on?
I was on Skittles. So it was Saturday morning at like 7. And then once after Labor Day, it was 7:30.
I saw Cameron reposted somebody from Skittles.
So I
Yeah.
have to say that.
Cameron reposted somebody from Skittles story who straight up got a Team Skittles themed marathon tattoo.
Ran to the tattoo shop
What?
after she crossed the finish line, and she got like the date, the Roman numeral date tatted on her, and it was filled in on rainbow. And she's like, I got it rainbow for Team Skittles, and I was like, dang.
Yeah.
Team Skittles is like rocking for Team Skittles right now.
Yeah. We're
we need to
legit.
get that in the brochures. Like, do
Yeah.
you want, this is how passionate
is how-
MTT
yeah,
is
you
about.
got
If you want
Mhm.
to feel so passionate that you're getting a tattoo for your run club after your race,
Love that. Shout
come
out
on
to her.
in.
Shout out to her.
So next we'll just take you to the tattoo parlor so that you can also rep Team Skittles for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to do after this.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So did you feel like you met friends? Like, what was, did you go most Saturdays, and do you feel like you met people? Did you know people that were already on Team Skittles? What was your feeling? What were the things that you liked the most about MTT?
Yeah. So when I signed up, I got a message from actually one of my coaches through my Instagram that was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're
cool.
on Team Skittles." And I was like, "Oh, this is great. Like I actually know someone going into it." But besides that, I mean, I never met anyone through my team beforehand, but I just remember like everyone was super nice. Like it was a very like chill, casual pace, which I also loved. But I really didn't know anyone, but everyone was very, very nice. It was a very casual pace, which I also liked because again, I was really trying to stick to zone 2 training. So I didn't want to get wrapped up in like feeling like I had to go at a fast pace or like anything like that. So that was really nice. And I just remember like my first run there, I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like they have stations to fill up your water bottle, they have gummy bears, they have a route planned out in my ear because I was just so nervous about it. But it was like really, really a great experience. And then I started looking forward to it every throughout the week just for it to be like Saturday morning. So I had a really good time with that.
And I will say, like, realistically, like, I feel like something people always bring up. I usually do half marathon training team, even though I can't do the race on race day, just because it's a very fun way to get your mileage up. There's a couple of us here on staff and some friends that do it together every year. And like, yes, do I mourn my Friday nights where I feel like I can do whatever I want and I'm not stressed about going to bed early? Sure. But like you're saying, I do think it's funny that you look forward to tell someone you look forward to that, but you really do. Like Tyler and I always talk about, my husband and I always talk about how much fun it is to like, this sounds old and nerdy, but to like be done with like a 8-10 mile run and like have gone out to breakfast and had fun and done all that. And you come home and it's like 9.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like my day's done. 9
Yeah.
a.m.
I can do
Yeah.
anything now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you loved it so much and definitely hope to have you back. I think we're going to dive into your race day experience.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, got a question.
The meat.
Yes. So my first question is, obviously we're called America's friendliest marathon for a reason. So I wanted to know from your personal experience, did the crowd help motivate you through your rough patches in your race? Like you said, at mile 20, you hit a wall, and any other miles that you might have like been like, okay, I'm a little tired. Was there any part in the race that you were like, oh, these people are so nice and like they're cheering me on, I should keep going?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was funny because this was the first year I've seen like people in the on the sides with like the big fat head of people running. So like clearly they're cheering for someone. Oh, I loved it. But they were cheering for everyone too. It wasn't just like, they're only looking for one person. It was just like constant. I mean, these people, they're probably exhausted from this, but just being like, come on, runners, you got it, like over and over and over again. So I did definitely feel like the crowd, I mean, I was like floating through the start to mile like 7 after we crossed the river. Like I was just like floating. And I was like, oh, like mile 8 was when I was like, okay, the marathon's actually starting because there's not as many people when you cross the river for like a mile and a half. And then there's more people. But it really was like electric to the point where I was like, I even paused my music just to be like, take in the crowd, like like feed off their energy. Yeah. So it was like definitely very helpful. And like, I always like to distract myself when I'm running. So like just listening to like people cheering, I feel like really helped me even before I hit a wall, just like even getting through like the entire marathon.
Did you have a particular like party area that you were super into? We have a lot of community spirit groups. Did any stick out as like, wow, because we still haven't picked our winner for that. So this could be an official endorsement.
I would say, I don't know if this, well, actually it might have been, there was like a band at it was in front of the Starbucks, mile 7-ish, right before Huguenot Bridge. And I was,
yep.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, this party is still going on. Like, I was so shocked. I was like, I'm like, over an hour into my run and this party is still going on. So that was really cool. And then obviously, November Project. I knew when I got to November Project that I was like basically done, because it was like, there's no more big hills except the downhill finish. There's, the biggest crowd as you're turning the corner. So it's just like, I knew when I got there, like I was pretty much done with the race. So I thought that was really cool. Just like the timing of it being like so close to the finish, but like you obviously still have a little ways to go.
Yeah, those guys had a huge group. Me and Ashley were driving parts of the course, and we were like a block and a half over, and our windows were down, and I was like, oh, I hear them. I was like, we're close. We're real close. And she's like, yeah, they're a street over. And we got there. I was like, there they are. Your DJ was so loud. It was so fun.
It was so loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did great. They were my personal fave, but again, we haven't chosen a winner yet.
Yeah.
I also always think, I'm like, if we weren't working this, I would want to be with these people. I want to be out here. I want to be screaming.
Yeah.
I want to tailgate this race. Yes.
Yeah, it was fun. Confetti poppers. It was
yeah.
I saw some of that confetti during my trash pickup yesterday.
Yeah. It was worth it in the moment.
I remember when I was in Northside and like I was looking for my dad. He was mile like 23-ish. And I just remember thinking like I was definitely like in my mind a little bit struggling. And I just remember thinking like these people are having so much fun and I'm the one working out here. Like,
right. Like, of course,
it's so nice you can have fun while I'm, struggling.
Just grinding out here. Yeah.
Grinding.
Well, that is a perfect lead into the next question, because as though we don't want to be not positive, but in 26 miles, you go through a lot in your mind about how you're getting through this. So what was your highest high and then your low?
Oh, that's a good one. I would say my highest high, it wasn't even when I saw the finish line, which is kind of weird. I feel like my highest, I would say my overall highest high, because I had a lot more highs than I had lows, which was awesome. But my highest high, probably, there's like a tie. I would say it was like mile 3 or 4-ish, where I had a good pace and it didn't feel like it was like too much. Like I felt like I could maintain it for a long time, and that's when I kind of knew like, okay, this is going to be a good race for me. Like it wasn't like it was a pace that I was like way faster at than my normal long runs, and I really didn't know how this marathon was going to go in terms of pace, so I kind of like had a time goal, but it was just kind of like whatever, it's just I just want to have fun. So when I was like, okay, I have a good pace and like I feel great, I was really excited about that. And then I would say my other highest high was like mile 25-ish, like basically I guess even towards the finish line, like actually feeling like I could keep going if I had to, but I didn't want to, but I could if I had to.
If you had some juice left in your tank, you're like, if I needed to keep going right now, I could. Like, I'm going to move. But you're like, I'm glad I don't have to keep going.
If given the option, no thank you.
Yeah, please. Thanks.
I would say, yeah. So that was definitely good. Like things hurt, but it wasn't like, it was kind of interesting. Like you're just like, oh, well, how far can I actually keep going before my legs really do collapse? But I don't really want to test that.
Hey, there were those people last year that were running that 8K and then that full marathon. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that was wild. The
people do
timing
it.
last year was different. So yeah,
Timing was
people
different,
could
yeah.
do that. Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend again. Yeah, if you can't stop, I would say stop.
Yeah, give your body a break. You don't want to go to absolute failure. But I would
Right.
say like my lowest low was mile 8. I got so in my head at mile 8. I don't know
Oh no.
what happened, but it was right after the little downhill ramp to Pony Pasture. I believe it's mile 8. And everything started hurting. And I just remember thinking, this is going to be a fun race. If everything's already hurting and it's only mile 8.
You couldn't hear that band anymore across the bridge. That's why.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got that band, and then they just left, and you're like, "Dang, now what?
I'm done.
I'm done."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm so
prayed.
fascinated by the waves you go through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I just remember, I was definitely in my head, but I was like, you know what? Like, keep going, played around with my running form a little bit. And like, it just turned into just do the best you can. Like, I really was like not even thinking about a DNF, but I was like, just do the best you can. Like, even if you have to slow down, like, who cares? You know, like, oh, crossing the finish line is still a win. So once that
For
went
sure.
away, like that pain went away, I was like, I'm back, baby, I'm back. And my pace hadn't slowed down. So I was like very happy about that. So that was probably like my lowest low.
Awesome. You even turned that positive. Look at
Yeah,
that.
it didn't even sound that bad. I love that. Okay, our next question is there anything that you would change? Because you did say you were planning on maybe doing another race. I saw that.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. My question is there anything you would change for your next race, as in like prep or just race day thing?
Yeah, I would bring extra shoes to the finish line. I had some bad blisters, so I would definitely do that.
Oh.
The other thing is,
Yeah,
I'm
we had
trying
some
to
people on
think.
staff changing into slip-ons just for post-staff drinks, and I was like, wow, this is a move. You guys were thinking, and I was
Smart.
jealous. So I too
Yeah.
will bring different shoes. But what were you gonna
Yeah.
say?
I was just thinking about like my actual training, like anything I would change. I don't know. I don't know much that I would change. I think if anything, it's like you kind of know now what to expect. So I would obviously like want to work more on like my mindset and my endurance so I don't hit a wall at mile 20, but I haven't fully like thought that through of how I would change that. You know, like it's just kind of like I need to figure that out, but I'm not 100% sure how I can avoid hitting a wall because you know, it was just a long race. So I'm not 100% sure on that yet.
Yeah, totally get that. What is your advice for somebody that is like contemplating doing a long distance race and maybe hasn't completed one before?
My advice is to just commit to it because I went back and forth on this so many times. And it really came down to also like, it was like, why, when I was like going back and forth, it was like, why do I want to do this? Do I want to do this because I feel like there's social media pressure? Because I really did not want that to be the case for me running this marathon. But I think it came down to like, I just want to see what I can accomplish. And I know if I like do something the right way and like take my time with it, that I could do it. So I think I really just wanted to prove that I could do it. So I think in terms of like someone who wants to try maybe a longer distance, you know, obviously be smart about your training, but also think about like your why and keep going back to your why when you are in training and make sure it's something you really want to do because at the end of the day, like you don't have to race and you're still a runner. You know, like this is, you know, it's a win if you cross the finish line, but it's also a win if you just go for a run in your neighborhood. So if you enjoy the journey of pushing yourself and like taking yourself out of your comfort zone, and a race helps you do that, then I think you should challenge yourself with a new distance. But definitely like coming back to your why is really important.
Just got me amped up.
Yeah. Let's get that training in. I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Doesn't matter if it's just 2 miles around my
Yeah,
neighborhood. That's great advice. Your last question about the race that we have before we go to some fun this or that, so that everybody just gets to know Lisa a little bit more, is what was your favorite piece of swag?
Oh, definitely the hat this year. I love the hat. It was different, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. No, I saw plenty of them. We went to Joe's Inn for breakfast on Sunday, and I saw 2 people wearing their hats, and then when I was at Costco, I saw 3 people in their hats.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Everybody hit that Costco
Oh,
on Sunday.
yeah. I like the
love that.
Costco attire now. Okay.
Yes.
I'll have to remember that.
You know, when you go to the club, to that wholesale club, you put on your black Run Richmond hat.
You're like, yeah, I want them. Yeah.
No,
I did.
it definitely was good.
With their shirt on yesterday when I was doing the cleanup. When I was
Okay.
at my mom, they were running, and I was like, dang, they ran the half,
Okay.
and I was like, you're out here running with your shirt. Like,
Oh, they're
you
pumped.
like
They're
Mhm.
riding that high.
Yeah,
They're on that shakeout run. They're just reliving.
They want people to see them around town. Like, hey, I was there too. I saw you. I love that. Yeah.
The
Nice.
medal
There
was
was no
really
hesitation.
Yeah, the medal was really cool this year too. I kept saying like, this looks like I just won the Olympics, and I love it.
It did.
It's beautiful. We have it on our schedule to, I think, to talk to Allison and Dion on our staff, who are our graphic designer and our retail manager. And they, just because they both kind of work together to work on that like concept of what it's going to look like. And I am like fascinated by that process, but they do a great job. And I loved this medal. I definitely got like old Grecian Olympic vibes for sure.
And the challenge medal too is like, I told Dion like twice. I said, "You just did your thing with that. Like, it looks so good, and it's huge. It's like the size of this. It's like so big, but it has those colors in it still.
Oh yeah,
Love it.
I know. My husband Tyler ran the half, and he said he wasn't going to take a blanket, and the lady was like, "It's free," and I was like, "Why would you?" Like, I'm glad you did. I want this.
Cute. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a cute blanket. Are you?
I think you
kidding?
just, we accumulate a lot of shirts and fleece blankets at our house over 10 years. So he probably was just like, we don't need any more. But I can always use one.
I was throwing out for that one.
Oh, yes, this year I just liked the whole concept for this year for sure.
Yeah. The tradition for me is like throw the blanket down and sit on it after the race and eat your banana and drink your water.
Yes.
Love it.
Love that. Saw plenty little picnics with those blankets. So we're this or thatting now. So this is something that Cameron and I like to do at the end of every podcast, whether with each other or with our guests. So we're the first one. We know that you're a Swiftie. So the first one.
Yeah.
I also hope that you had just as much fun. Cam did not think this was fun because Cameron's top celebrity crush is Travis Kelce. So she's not about this new relationship. But I had a lot of fun post race, just looking at the huge break that we've had in that relationship. I mean, Argentina, what a love fest. Just everybody.
About, really,
you just muted it on your Instagram. You were like, you've unfollowed them. So I had it on the brain, even though I knew you were Swiftie. But your first this or that is, are you more of a Reputation or Lover girly?
Oh, Reputation. It's like the best running music.
Yes, I agree.
We were talking about that. A bunch of people said in our story when I asked what they were listening to while they were running, a bunch of people said they were just gonna have the album on repeat, the newest one. And
yeah.
I was like, there's some songs that I'm like, I don't see how. I mean, Reputation, yes, but some songs I'm like, I'd get sad if I was running to that.
I'm not running to Folklore. Yeah,
no.
Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on your pace. Because
I am slow.
I was gonna say when I run, like I literally listen to indie music because I'm like not trying to sprint.
Yeah.
And like any music keeps me chill.
Little so moody fall.
Yeah. I guess it depends. A little cardigan.
Yeah, that makes me want to like wear a cardigan and go to sleep. So I definitely, if I'm running to Taylor, I agree. It's Reputation.
Yeah,
I did run. Real quick, I ran mile 18 to All Too Well. So that was fun because I got to sing the entire 10-minute version as I'm trucking up. I guess maybe it was mile 18, but the little incline on Main Street where I'm just like questioning everything. But, Taylor Swift's in my ear, so it doesn't matter.
You can just let that anger at Jake Gyllenhaal propel you up that hill and just take you to the finish. I love that. That's real emotion that you were experiencing.
I saw a couple of signs talking about Taylor and like referencing the album, and somebody was like, "How many times has your album like repeated since you started?" I saw that was like right in front of the stadium. I was
man.
there's probably a couple people who are just listening to the album.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably. Okay. Next one was Nan's idea because I was a little confused, but you might know what it means. Do you have, when you see everybody doing something like going somewhere crazy or cool or whatever, do you have FOMO or do you have JOMO?
What is
JOMO is the JOMO is
See,
the
that was
joy.
my question.
Guys, I just didn't know that this wasn't in high circulation. Maybe I made it up. JOMO is the joy of missing out. Like those
Oh,
canceled plans.
probably FOMO, but the asterisk is it depends what time this activity is at because I am not about staying out late anymore.
Love that relaxation
I'm a
era.
JOMO girl. I'm a JOMO
Yeah.
girl all the way. It doesn't really matter what time it is.
I was surprised you didn't know what it was because it kind of reminded me of you.
Yeah. Well, I gotta use it now.
Yeah.
Now that I know what it means, that's gonna be my new thing. I got JOMO.
I love that.
All
All right. Your last one is, I did tell Cameron, obviously we've talked about Costco like 85 times, subtle mention, maybe they'll start sponsoring this podcast. But if you are rolling up to the Costco Cafe, as I know you're a loyal club member, if you're rolling up to the Costco Cafe, are you getting a hot dog or a pizza slice?
Pizza slice.
Or
I can't.
or soft pretzel. Let's throw in pizza slice.
Pizza slice and a churro and some ice cream. I actually can't digest hot dogs, so that's out of the question.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I am sad.
I ate too many as a kid.
Churro? I didn't know they had churros.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're like $1.
Yeah, we might have to leave work now.
Right. That's the. We're out on business. We got something to do.
We're having 65-cent sodas and churros.
Try it.
I love that. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I like that you added the other things. It's a real choose your own adventure, and you have to treat yourself. You just ran 26.2, so I hope Colby takes you on a date soon to the Costco Cafe.
I once asked him to get me ice cream, and I think he waited in line for 30 minutes. It was ridiculous. But he did
That
it.
is love.
He
That's
wasn't
fairy
happy.
tale.
Yeah, seriously, he wasn't. Yeah, now he was happy.
I hope he got one for himself too, at least.
He did.
Right.
It was fine.
Or a pizza slice.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And we're so glad that your marathon went well. And we hope that you're back on a training team soon after you have rested up and recovered and just like enjoy this whole celebration period because you should feel so good.
Yeah. I'm already thinking about the half in the spring, the new half, but
nice. Yeah, definitely. The River City half.
Yep. I think that's like my next big goal is PR there. I know I can do it. So that's like already what I'm thinking about, even though I should be just, blank space, relaxation, not worrying about a thing. But I'm already like, all right, how can I PR this?
I love that. But that's only half. You're going to, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That'll be perfect. Well, thank you so much. Tell people your Instagram handle one more time and your podcast.
Yeah. My Instagram is dr.lisa.dpt. My podcast is Rehab for Runners, where I just break down research on running injuries and how to prevent them.
Awesome. And Lisa gave me tons of advice for On the Move. She was the person she is the number one tech provider of this podcast. All technical equipment is thanks to Lisa.
Yeah. We got the matching microphones.
That's right.
I just need a jean jacket and we'll all be the same.
That's right. Well, thank you so much. And thanks to everybody for listening. And we can't wait to see you next Thursday at On the Move with Nan and Cam. Thanks, Lisa.
Bye, Lisa.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.